The next version of World of Warcraft you didn't ask for. It's a video uploaded by Ebonheart. Let's check it out.
How many game modes can World of Warcraft have before it starts cannibalizing itself?
Oh, we're getting there.
Classic, Hardcore, Plunderstorm, Season of Discovery, and WoW Remix. So what's next, and is it even a game mode you'd be excited about? With WoW getting bigger and bigger year by year, and while still not near its peak back in 2010, it's sitting at well over 8 million subscribers.
Damn.
But how many people are playing a singular and solely that singular game mode? Back before Classic WoW came out in 2019, World of Warcraft was down to just over 4 million subscribers.
Yeah,
A pretty abysmal number. Now for WoW this was horrendous, but in the grand scheme of the industry, it was still the king by a pretty fucking large margin. Because
it's actually crazy when you look at it like that. Because people always say like, oh, WoW is dead, WoW is like this and WoW is that, but even this, even at the very lowest, it was still like by a large margin the biggest, right? So crazy, man. So crazy. That's just Steam though. Yeah, I know there's like other, you know, metrics as well, but like it's still, right, like 4 million and compared to like 100k for this here on Steam. There is also the clients outside of Steam, but yeah, I wonder when he's not playing WoW, he's reacting to WoW. We also watch some other WoW stuff.
A large margin. Because it doesn't matter how good you are compared to everyone else, the king isn't allowed to fall so low. So Classic WoW saved WoW's sub numbers, and then that led to the Burning Crusade Classic, but at the same time it led to Classic Era. Classic Era then led to Hardcore, and then the Burning Crusade led to Wrath of the Lich King Classic, which then led us to Cataclysm Classic and Season of Discovery, both the most hyped and hated game modes since Plunderstorm. And people are hating Season of Discovery because they envision Classic Plus and feel disillusioned due to the Phase 3, with incursions, the PvP meta, Sunken Temple feeling boring, and the gear just not being enticing. Whatever reasons they have, people are upset, which is fair. But then
I think it's because like everybody has their own idea behind Classic Plus, and I do like that Blizzard went really kind of, you know, haywire with it, but I do think it was a little bit too extreme. I think it... I mean, I don't know. To me, Classic Plus is just like, you know, vanilla, but maybe with more content. Not necessarily like insane overhauls to everything, right? I don't feel like ST is that boring. I think ST is fine. I honestly think they've done a great job at the raids. And I think actually Sunken Temple is the most fun out of all the raids that they did. Out of like Black Fathom Depths, No More Again, and ST, Sunken Temple was the greatest. But it's also just the release cadence, right? Where the heck are the new raids they teased? I mean, we haven't really gotten any like new raids like that, but hopefully, surely, perhaps, maybe that's gonna be a level 60, right?
That brings me to the curious question, which
we already have Classic Plus. It's called Cataclysm. No.
At the beginning, how many game modes can WoW have before it starts to steal players from itself? Cataclysm Classic's pre-patch released to a pretty buggy state, but it still felt funner than Season of Discovery's Phase 3 to many people, so pulled many people from SOT to Cata Classic. So what about the soon-to-release WoW Remix, Mr. Pandaria? How many people are going to jump ship between these many game modes? And does Blizzard even care about this? Or is this a sub is a sub, and which game version you play is irrelevant? Or does jumping between these game modes give Blizzard room to breathe, thus showing a much higher MAU, otherwise known as monthly active users, and gets Microsoft and Activision's number crunching MBAs off their back? You know who else needs room to breathe? Me. So fucking subscribe. Anyways, what does all of this mean for Warcraft? What does this mean for the future game modes that are coming? Before Classic, the only game mode was WoW. Not retail, just WoW.
It is crazy how we went from that to this. I saw Aspen go play another Genshin Impact game. When will you play it? Never.
And Classic happened and we got to that distinction, retail and classic. Then we got to TBC Classic and Classic era, so we had to differentiate between the classics. Then
Chat, it's like those, like it's too weeby, man. Like I literally can't, like I can't. Like bro, I watch Dragon Ball, okay, I love Dragon Ball, shit like that, but dude, those games are like, that shit is too much, okay? That shit is too much.
Classic Hardcore, then SOD Classic, which we just call Season of Discovery, and not even Classic. So what is next for Classic WoW? And then what is next for Retail WoW? Cataclysm Classic and WoW Remix will hold the line till Phase 4 for SOD, and the War Within happens for Retail. But then, after the War Within, will we get another WoW Remix? Perhaps Warlords of Draenor to replace Remix Mr. Pandaria?
This could be a thing that they were gonna do, but I think the remix kind of games are They're very much just like a they're mostly catered towards like transmog farming and like stuff like that. I think the mob remix was actually really fun in the beginning, but it very quickly turned into something completely crazy, right? But I like that they're doing those kind of things, right?
We get Season of Insert Name to
They're
replace
events,
Season of
yeah.
Discovery, such as Season of Madness or Season of Insanity. Will
God.
we finally get the hyped up beyond measure, unable to satisfy anyone because everyone has their own idea of what it is and will thus cause a shitstorm
Yeah.
no matter how good it is, mystical and mythical Classic Plus?
It's just the Classic Plus is so hard to do well, man. I have my idea about it. Some people have their own idea about it, right? For me, it would be very simple. It would be a very standardized vanilla WoW experience with some new zones and some new content and some new dungeons and raids, right? That's pretty much it. And if anything, very few changes to classes, right? That's pretty much the lore for me, but maybe some people view it differently, and that's why it's so difficult to do, right? Turtle WoW, I know a lot of people always mention Turtle WoW when people say Classic Plus. I never played Turtle WoW, but I've seen a few trailers from them. I've seen a few of like how their systems work, and it's quite an okay, take on what a Vanilla Plus could be. But I haven't played it, so I don't really know if it's good or bad or whatever the heck, right?
Will Mr. Pandaria Classic replace Cataclysm Classic? And how are the dev teams split up to handle this? Is one version of WoW being pushed to the wayside so another can be developed? Many in the Classic community are calling
they have
for
different
blood,
teams.
blaming the Classic dev team for failing both the SOD player base and the Cata Classic player base. And
Okay.
whilst I don't believe that to be the case, even if there have been some major mistakes and bugs, the developers are still doing a good job or trying their best. So then
I think compared to it being such a small team, I think they're doing pretty decent, man. Okay, there's a lot of bugs here and there, but overall they're doing pretty okay with it. I would say. I enjoyed leveling in Turtle WoW, but it wasn't interested in raiding at all because of the commitment. I can't speak on Turtle WoW. Never played it.
why does it feel like for every new thing we get, something else is broken or abandoned? Despite the community eagerly anticipating the next batch of reveals from Blizzard, that excitement has a heavy but lingering sense of concern and worry about the stability and consistency of the Classic experience, heck, the Warcraft experience. And thus here we are, debating on what's to come, because if you've seen or looked anywhere, Classic is dead, and depending on who you ask, either the devs, the Classic player base, or the retail player base killed Classic. Everyone seems to think that their favorite game mode is being changed to cater to a different group of players, not realizing that most players nowadays are jumping between game modes, trying a little bit of everything. Whether it was...
That's kind of where I am right now. I kind of do. I play Cataclysm, I played some SOD, I play some Dragonflight, I'm trying War Within. I'm kind of just a little bit all over the place right now. But I will say it can get very much playing like 4 different versions of WoW, right? Like it can definitely be too much.
Blizzard or Microsoft's intention is completely irrelevant. And the introduction of all these new game modes holds a profound implication for the World of Warcraft player base and the broader gaming community itself. Each new iteration has the potential to reshape player experiences, offering us fresh challenges, fresh opportunities, and fresh narratives to explore. For veteran players, you get to revisit some beloved expansions which were reviled at launch, such as Mr. Pandaria, but is now considered one of the better expansions. This leads to the potential of something like Shadowlands Classic in the distant future. And revisiting beloved expansions or hated expansions in a classic format and experiencing them through a remixed lens can evoke a potent source of nostalgia, while presenting opportunities for rediscovery and reevaluation for the players and the developers. Meanwhile, new players coming to the Warcraft universe, and while there doesn't seem to be that many of them, there are still plenty of new players. They might find themselves drawn in by the allure of being able to actually experience the game without dealing with the horrendous and outlandish introduction to retail WoW. No matter how Blizzard attempts to make the new player experience better, it's a fucking shit show. So game modes like Plunderstorm or WoW...
they could definitely work on it a little bit more, but it's not that horrible, but I think they just need to work on the stuff after the initial like introduction island or whatever it's called, right? And then it should be okay. Even Kata brought new players, for sure, because there's different people, for enjoying different things, right? And people like those new starts for like a as an introduction, and maybe they have friends playing it, and they get their friends into playing it as well, right? It was a Bud McGee. Imagine playing BFA again. My big question is just, what the heck are they gonna do after Cataclysm? Are they actually gonna do mob? Are they gonna like stop it there? Like, what's gonna happen, right?
remix, heck, maybe even a new game mode called WoW Tutorial that's isolated but teaches people how to play the game with an actual in-depth help system. But these smaller game modes that are faster paced and easier to jump into are really good for the new player experience and getting people that quit years ago to come back and actually try their game out again. However, no matter how much innovation can be helpful, with innovation comes the risk of alienating the current player base and sowing discord amongst them. So Microsoft, or in this case Blizzard, has to navigate a delicate balance between honoring what their core fans want and embracing innovation, but they have to tread incredibly carefully to ensure that new game modes resonate with the very diverse player base, because
it's just there's two kind of players, I feel like, in terms of, like, you know, this whole thing. There's the people that just want to play the classic, like, vanilla stuff, and then there's people that kind of want to dibble-dabble a little bit all over the place, I think. I think that's, for the most part, how it is. Ever since the release of Classic, I've had my main WoW, usually one variant of Classic, and then dipped in and out of the others. Yeah, I get that, for sure, right?
holy shit, is it diverse. Classic era players, retail players, SOD players, Kata players, that list may keep growing as the years go on.
Yeah.
Soon you won't be able to say you're a WoW player. You'll have to give people your WoW pronouns. I'm a SOD/remix player. Anyways, addressing concerns about accessibility, balance, and community cohesion will be paramount as players from different backgrounds and playstyles converge within these similar but drastically different games. And the successful implementation of new game modes hinges on not only their technical execution, and they need to make sure that technical execution is done well. Bugs are common in games, but looking at Cataclysm pre-patch in Phase 3 of SOD does sting a little bit. On top of that, though, they also have to foster a sense of belonging and excitement among players of all stripes. So ignoring the implication of new game modes, the main question is whether or not players truly even desire new game modes is a complex one that encompasses a spectrum of opinions across the massive Warcraft community. Some players eagerly anticipate the introduction of fresh content and innovative gameplay experiences and loops, viewing all of these new game modes as an opportunity to inject life and experimentation into WoW. For these,
I think those little game modes are cool. I don't know what y'all think. I think the Plunderstorm event was cool. It was a few years late in terms of the BR hype, yes, but it was quite cool. Mob Remix, I think it was pretty cool. I think it's also like a pretty dang thing. I think it's cool they're doing those little events here and there, right? But obviously they should focus on the main juicy game being good, right? Like, you know, the War Within stuff and then the classic, whatever classic may be at this point. But yeah.
Players the prospect of exploring existing expansions in new lights or revisiting beloved expansions in a revamped format is incredibly exciting. Conversely, there are those who approach the idea of new game modes with skepticism, indifference, or abject pure hatred. Many will remember that when Season of Discovery and Plunderstorm were announced, the community outcry was insanely negative. In fact,
I don't remember the outcry being negative for SOD. I mean, maybe I'm skewed. I was at BlizzCon when they announced it. Everybody I talked to at BlizzCon seemed hyped about it.
Mainly negative. In fact, I remember a quote. Holy shit, the devs have lost their minds. No one gives a shit about Plunderstorm. We all asked for more retail. And then vice versa, when Season of Discovery was announced, I remember a very specific comment that said, holy shit, Blizzard is retarded. No one asked for this. We just wanted Classic Plus. Then,
to be fair, though, you can always find comments like this, dude. Man, there's always gonna be some troglodyte on the forums or something like that being insanely pissed about whatever is happening, right? I think the idea behind SOD was cool, but I think it might, for my personal taste, it's a little extreme with all the changes to everything.
Classic Plus. Then the game modes came out and everybody had a pretty good time and enjoyed these new game modes. The lead up to them, though, was incredibly negative. These players feel like the existing collection of game modes are being pushed to the wayside or not being supported properly because they view these new game modes as being a drain on resources and developer attention. Some of these players have a more pragmatic outlook, worrying that the introduction of new game modes could dilute the player base, fragmenting communities and diminishing the sense of cohesion and shared experience that defines World of Warcraft's gameplay loop.
I think it's mostly difficult to make the classic audience happy because a lot of the classic audience, a bunch of them actually just want vanilla fresh. That's why there's that whole movement lately with like, let's go on that fresh server, Deviate Delight or whatever it is on EU. I don't remember the actual server, but like there's been like a whole movement with that, right? That's what some people want. SOD execution has been questionable, but Phase 1 was great. I agree.
Sadly though, attempting to balance these very divergent perspectives is literally very difficult for Blizzard, requiring careful consideration of player feedback, filtering through that feedback, and actively applying the good and ignoring the bad, whilst at the same time not losing the overarching vision for the World of Warcraft franchise. So, what do players want? At its core, players want two things: good gameplay and feeling immersed in the game. And that player satisfaction hinges on those main things and a myriad of smaller factors such as immersive storytelling, engaging gameplay, and fun things to do in the open world, and a sense of community and belonging. While some players may yearn for the nostalgia of classic WoW because of the community aspect, or the thrill of exploring new expansions, others prioritize gameplay and balance more than anything else, such as PvP players or raiders.
I don't know, for me personally, I kind of like both. I really love vanilla. If there ever was an actual vanilla fresh or something like that, or maybe one day I want to do another hardcore run, I would love that. But I also really like new content. Like that's why I think retail is really fun, because every time there's something new coming out in retail, WoW, like War Within, whatever, it's always completely new. It's something you've never seen before, and that's what I find enticing about that. And I guess also the Mythic Plus and stuff like that, I find fun. I think that gameplay loop is really enjoyable. But yeah, I think we go around in circles about these discussions. I think it's because right now we're at a really weird like limbo, I think, tape with like classic WoW, especially, I think, because we kind of all know where retail is going, right? Retail is going to War Within, and then it's going to, I can't remember the other names of the new ones, but classic WoW is weird because you got Sod. What's happening to Sod? What's happening to Era? What's happening to Fresh? What's happening to Cataclysm, right? Like, people don't really know where it's going, so they're just, everybody is like confused. I can't understand why people want TBC Wrath servers play the same content over and over again. Some people enjoy it. Seal the Seal, thank you for the Prime 23 months, by the way. Some people enjoy it. I mean, same thing with vanilla. There's that whole movement lately with vanilla. Some people would just want to play vanilla over and over again. I mean, up to you, Bruce.
Many people, though, the essence of Warcraft lies not only in the content itself, but in the shared experiences and memories forged alongside fellow players. And in the grand scheme of things, the ongoing evolution of World of Warcraft as an MMO, and a 20-year-old MMO at that, reflects much larger trends in the public and the community, and dynamics within the gaming industry as a whole. What players think they want versus what they actually want are two separate things, and neither the player base nor Blizzard knows what that is, aside from one singular thing: a good game. What makes a game good? That's individual, or in this case, a game mode good, is up to debate though. The relentless pursuit of innovation and the constant push for new experiences underscore that kind of dynamic nature of what gamers want, or what the gaming culture dictates, where player appetites for novelty and excitement are always changing and shifting. The success or failure of new game modes within the Warcraft universe serve as kind of a barometer for the broader health and vitality of the game as a whole. So long as Blizzard carefully, and I mean this, carefully analyzes player feedback and engagement metrics, they can see what the players want and what they're actively consuming and clamoring for. Blizzard, you can glean valuable insights into the evolving wants, and those wants are very simple. We just want good games. Ultimately, that ability to...
I mean, that's just hard though. Like, okay, what? Just give me a good game. But that's so subjective, right? I feel like just see what people play and then see the feedback, and that's like go from there, right? But like, yeah, what's a good game? To some people, a good game is vanilla WoW. Playing through, like, no changes, just a progressive server. But for some people, a good game is new content in retail, right? And then new raids and new zones and new stuff, right? Like new game modes and shit, right? It's difficult. You can't get insight from people who have left, though, without asking them. True, of course, yeah.
Innovate while staying true to what makes World of Warcraft is incredibly important to WoW's continued success and growth. Not that the landscape for the MMOs is competitive anyways. Where the fuck are all the new MMOs? Holy shit. So let me end this video on a question though. What game mode do you want for World of Warcraft? Anyways, if you liked the video, subscribe. If you hated the video, subscribe anyways. Give me Classic Plus or I'm burning down the third world tree. Ebonheart out.
I think the new thing people are wanting is a fresh, right? That's what I want, classic with new content. That's why my hope lays in Sod. Yeah, I mean, that could be a cool thing. I do agree for sure. And hopefully it turns out being well. Classic Plus, not Classic Minus. I want TBC era. Classic Plus with 24/7 Colosseum style tournament. It's a lot of very custom things, right? I'll link it here, chat. It's hard, right? It's really difficult.
Stop yapping.
What do you mean?
Be quiet.
Okay.